on stage when you just, oh no, they've gone there.
Tom, for a second, I thought that you were Bill Burr, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Thanks.
They brought a comedian.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I'll take it.
A compliment. It's a compliment.
I was thinking about the haircut last time, how we were going to have a challenge to have the longest hair, but I see everybody's really managed very well.
No.
Dude, I haven't. That's kind of completely loose.
But
Hristo, isn't that like normal?
Maybe it is. I have no recent point of reference, so
Older I get, the longer the hair in my ears are getting, and so now I have a bridge between my normal hair and my ear hair. You can lift me up like a trophy.
Comb over.
You should braid it. You should braid it, Fabio.
Yeah.
Next show, I'm gonna be braided. I'm gonna look like Tupac.
Look at that intro sequence, man.
Your back hair, you're gonna be okay.
Ah, man, this is beautiful.
Oh.
Wow. Production values.
Very high, very high.
And
unbelievable.
That is it.
There we go.
There we go.
Meetup TV, we have big ambitions.
Very cool.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. I'm going to hand over to Ioanna, who is our host for this evening.
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's really, really nice to be one of the co-hosts again of the second virtual edition of 3DS London. I think it's appropriate to say 3DS Global now because we have people from all around the world. The first one last month was great. We had around 400 people watching us live and then 1,000 people watching us afterwards, which was amazing. And that really gives us a lot of drive to keep on doing this. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight and who is watching us live now. And I want to say thank you to all our speakers and panelists for taking the time and joining us for making this event as great as always. And I just am going to introduce myself quickly. My name is Ioanna, and I am a 3D artist at a creative production studio in London called Inc. Also, I'm a board member of London SIGGRAPH, and I'll be a co-host tonight with Nigel, Josh, and Fabrice. And yes, let's have some fun, guys.
Great!
Yes.
To do that.
Let's pop to that view. Right, so what we normally do at 3DS London is we start with the news. So shall we jump on to that?
Yeah, let's jump on the news.
Okay.
So, we have. So as we said last time, we are supporting a charity called Red Shoes Charity. What was that?
I'm going to share the screen.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, if I can drive. Do it again.
Do you want the Jeopardy music?
Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
Yeah, okay. As we said last time, we are supporting a charity called Red Shoes Charity, and we would like to share that with you again, guys. It is a charity for people who, it's a charity against domestic abuse and people who are stuck together in these circumstances. And we are showing the support for people who are not feeling really well being stuck at home with someone who they want to be stuck at home with. So please, if you are feeling supporting this charity, make a small donation. It will make a great difference. So all the news are gonna be again posted on Facebook. So you have all the links to, if you want to take a look and support any of them, go ahead. We also have Fabio and Jason tonight, who are doing the rendering challenge. I know all of you have probably seen all the great renders going around the internet. I am completely stunned by all of them. It's amazing. And yeah, we have them on the panel to discuss that. Yes.
So we'll get on to that in just a sec. Ioanna, just while I've got it on screen, Hayes Davidson have been in touch.
That was the next point. Okay, go.
You're jumping the gun. Okay, you carry on.
No, go.
No, you carry on.
Yeah, they've been in touch with Nigel, I believe. They're doing a 5K run, charity run. Is that correct, Nigel?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you want to add something else to that?
Well,
Nigel, maybe you want to maximize the image. It's still like I only see the we only see the thumbnails. Isn't there something you want to show there?
Have you got?
That's all you see. Then if you click on the QR or scan the QR code, that will take you to all these websites. So
Nigel, maximize the image.
Yes,
the images. We only see the thumbnails.
Just see that.
I'll be sharing the
Oh God, hang on.
You see the Adobe
Hold
bridge.
on to that beer for now.
It's not even that.
Get your.
I'm just going to stop
Right, guys.
sharing it.
Well,
Nigel has
Shots have been
5 screens. Nigel has 5 screens. I saw the picture.
It's got a professional
so-
setup.
You
Bear
carry on
with
talking, I got to do something. There was it.
Davidson.
Yes.
Keep talking.
5K run.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's good call out.
So 5K run, I've seen that going on a lot and supporting different charities. So Hayes Davidson doing that too. Then we have the University of Kent. I believe Nigel have a little bit more information for that news. So Nigel, if you can, or you're busy fixing stuff.
I will share all these after we talk them through.
Okay. So we have the University of Kent who want to promote internships through students. So we have architectural students on internships, and they want to, I don't know, look for internships for their students. And this is, this is very generous. And if someone is looking for interns in architectural viz, please get in touch with us. Also, another thing I want to share is the London SIGGRAPH is doing next week. And in general, we moved all the events of London SIGGRAPH online now. So we have drink and draw and share your, bring your own animation or a portfolio online, where we review every month students or professionals' portfolios, which I think is very useful right now to do. And also next week we are doing a live drawing event on Monday. So that link would pop up on the Facebook page as well if you want to join. It's basically an actress and a yoga teacher who would do poses, and people can do live drawing event as it is in real life, but virtually. And we have the CG Architect, who is launching their beta website, I believe, next week as well. So that's going to be big. Jeff had a presentation a couple of months ago about the website on our event in London, and it was pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. And I see another news about Tomorrow Challenge. Nigel, do you want to jump on that?
Well, I will when I share it. It's one that has been running for a while, and I think the deadline is the end of this month. It's another ArtFizz challenge. But I'll share my screen, not Adobe Bridge this time.
Okay.
Shall we do
Sounds
it?
good.
So
Yeah.
I'll try. Let's see if I can balls this one up. Find it. Okay. So what have we got first? So that's your first lot. We've got the QR codes there.
Very good, Nigel.
I don't think we can
Can't see it.
You are the only one that can see it.
I
Yeah,
can't.
you're keeping it very private.
I wonder why I can't share that.
I mean, it looks great, you know.
It's a good-looking Finder window.
You know what I'm not going to do? I'm going to just play that. I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to go home.
You are home.
I'm going to...
Where are you?
The other room.
I'm going to switch off. Forget it.
That's the beauty of the live show.
Drag the window over.
Yes.
I'm gonna
So we
drag
could
this
describe it. Maybe you could describe.
Just make it your background and then move over.
Try to describe the QR code.
Yes.
No help.
It would help if I could actually see what I'm doing. There we go. Right. Fabio, do you want to talk about the challenge?
Yes, sir. Should I share my screen?
God, no!
All right, I won't do it. Okay, so basically, a couple of weeks ago, when this whole Corona thing started, a lot of people reached out to me because of the stuff that I do on YouTube, you know, talking about the business side of architectural visualization. And they were asking me what to do, you know, to overcome these hard times. And eventually, the reality of the situation is that everything that should have been done for any creative business to survive this time should have been done before the crisis hit. And so I found myself thinking what it is that I could do if I had my own company and I had to invest the time of this low time in order to allow the people that work with me to improve their skills and grow professionally. And so I started to look at the community almost like if it was my own company. And I said, what is there that I can do, that I could do to contribute to this problem, to fight this problem? And so, you know, I started to look at it very personally. I was like, okay, if I were to do something myself, what it is that I can do to improve my skills, right? And so I came up with the idea of like modeling this car, this Lancia Stratos, because I don't know how to, I'm not a really good modeler, and cars, they're very difficult to me. I love them and I love rendering them, but you know, they're difficult to do. And so when I finished that model of the Lancia Stratos, a lot of people reached out saying, oh, do you want to give it to me because I want to make some renderings? And so I understood that a lot of people were in need of like a creative outlet to kind of express themselves. And so I started to think, okay, maybe if I put some money and create sort of like a prize giveaway, I could invite people to participate to this and make a competition out of it. In the first competition, I got like 120 images sent to me, which was like mind-blowing. And, you know, with the time, this started to grow. 3 weeks in, we had like, I don't know, I think 120 people actually, because before we had a little bit less people entering with more images. And then as time started to pass, the people started to grow. And so we started to invite people to talk to our show. You know, this thing grew out of proportion. Sponsors started to get in touch because they wanted to help the cause. And eventually, you know, it's Jason and I that are doing this thing now, but of course I started it by myself. But this is the beautiful thing of like working with Jason, because I'm usually the guy that breaks things. And then Jason comes with like the wooden stick and says, okay, we got to do this better and we got to put it this way and we got to make it look a little bit better. And so now this has become part of like some of the stuff that we're going to offer as content for the D2 conference. We're still testing it. We're still playing around, but it has allowed a lot of people, you know, to grow horizontally as professionals, because as you know, a lot of architecture visualization companies are built on the vertical, and sometimes they're very vertical, and this doesn't allow them to be flexible and to pivot easily and look for new opportunities. And times like the Corona crisis allow for a lot of opportunities if you're able to differentiate yourself on an horizontal plane. And so these challenges, they've proven to be very efficient and very productive in that sense, because a lot of people are starting to play with tools that they did not play with before. And so now I have people that reached out to me saying, oh, you know, I'm actually thinking to apply for a job in game design because I'm starting to use ZBrush and I finally figured out how to make UV mapping and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, to everybody who's watching, the thing that I always say when it comes to the business side of design is that the difference between those who do and those who don't do is those who do, meaning that as long as you do something, you're always creating, you're always generating sort of like a momentum. And this is at the end of the day what drives things forward. Now, I have prepared some images to show you the actual work that people have done, but if I cannot really share my screen, I don't know if...
Go ahead and try it. I think it's worth it to show the images. It's pretty amazing what
Yes.
people were doing.
Let me see, share screen. I should be able to share this screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Give it a second.
It's
Yes.
about to. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen.
You can see.
Have a winner.
Okay, so let me just open up some of the images. There we go.
No, oh yeah.
Can you see them?
There's
Yeah.
a flying motorbike.
This is from Nuno. Nuno's
Yes.
image, the winner of the first one.
I'm just going to make a slideshow so that we can continue the conversation. Slideshow, there we go. You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, it's all great.
Oh, good.
Okay,
There.
good. And so, you know, like, as you can see, like by giving tasks to people that were not strictly related to architectural visualization, people really had to try and think about design in a way that they did not do before. And so, you know, why is this important? Usually when I work with my clients, when we do strategy together, part of the time that we invest in how we can differentiate ourselves from the competition is by doing activities that allow your company to differentiate yourself. And so doing these challenges is enabling some artists to literally thinking out of the box, which is a funny thing to say because the next challenge, the challenge that it's currently going on, it's actually called the cube. And so it is a box. And I'm already getting entries from people all over the world. It's going to be very interesting. And the next good thing that this challenge has enabled me to do is the fact that I'm giving my platform, which is not very big, but you know, it's slowly growing, to shine the spotlight onto upcoming artists. And so now every time that I do a launch of a project, of a new challenge, I invite young artists to show their work on my channel. They prepare something for the challenge, and they share it with the community, and people make art out of it, which I think it's amazing because it creates this chain of reaction that otherwise wouldn't be happening if there weren't such initiatives like this one. Nigel, I don't know how we're doing time-wise, if I stole too much of your time already. And I don't know if Jason wants to add something, maybe talk a little bit about the D2 community.
Yeah, jump in, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say as well that the whole thing with Fabio started so organically. I mean, he didn't even say anything to me that he was doing this. I just saw it like with everybody else that he started to do these challenges. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, you know, this is something that's missing from what we're doing with the D2 and with the D2 community, and that we should try to fold it into that somehow. But at the same time, it's kind of being used as a test, which is good because, as if you've watched any of the actual judging live judging videos, they're quite funny because the first one especially, we did not know what we were doing. We were just like, oh, well, what about if we take 10 images and then we move it? You know, it was like we had no idea. So we came up basically with everything on the fly. And I have to say that it was really cool to be involved from the beginning, because I've gotten to see also lots of different judges. Fabio's asked, different people to be in each time, and it's always different, the chemistry between the people. And I'll just show you. This is how on the fly everything is. That's like this is how we tabulated the final scores for the images. That's the winning things, So we've had a lot of fun.
Analog.
By the time we make something more professional out of it, then we can move it over to D2. but we'll see.
Again, I really want to emphasize the importance of doing something at all time. When we started out with having these conversations online, people were furious. They were like, "Oh my God, what is this shit? It's so unprofessional. And what are you guys doing? Who are you picking?" And then with the time, people started to get used to the kind of conversations that we were having. And so, in the beginning, we were like using funny sounds effects when we were deleting the images. People were angry because, we would flush them down the toilet. And now, we're 6 weeks in and people are like, "Oh, I can't wait for you to flush my image down the toilet." And so it's like, people are really getting excited about, the conversations that we have, because, last week we had Mike Winkelman, AKA Beeple. He's an artist that is followed by literally millions of people. And we were having him on the show and we had the best time ever. This shows a humanity side of our industry that I think we need more and more. And, I am super excited to join you guys in these conversations, and props to you, Nigel, for doing them, because this is what keeps us together, right?
Yeah, well, it's a global community. And, if we bring in the VFX guys now to what you've just shown us, I think what I've found so exciting over the last 6 weeks now is the absolute diversity in talent. And it's, I thought when you first started, it would be a lot of buildings, a lot of interiors, a lot of art viz. But what I've seen is incredible art direction. It's really, really stunning.
Well, I also wanted to say, because of what you said just now about the ArcViz thing, is generally it's been there's a lot of ArcViz people working on this, but generally it's gone way off of that. They're doing things like I never thought they would do. But last week we had sort of a classical ArcViz image that won from Lucia. So it was like a more classical one. And people got mad. And the interesting thing they were like, "Oh, come on, it's the typical ArcViz thing." But the funny thing is that it was the most unanimous first place that we've had since we started doing this. Even Mike Winkelman, Beeple, chose it as his #1. So, I don't know what...
it was a stunning piece of CGI photography.
Yeah, it's a great image. And I just thought it was interesting to see that the differing opinions in the comments that people would have about things, even though that was since we've started, the most picked image that we've had, the most unanimous one.
Have you got it there? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yes.
Can you flash it?
Hold on, let me share.
Can you guys remind us where we can see this, what the website is?
Fabio, shall I try sharing my screen again? Because I've got QR code.
If you want to share your screen, share your screen.
Oh God, I'm gonna get.
But anyway, that's the image from Lucia. It's fantastic.
All right.
And
cool.
Desktop. We'll go desktop 2. And then I'm gonna.
Maybe I should give you a little bit of a background as of what was the what people had to do. So basically, we had this guy Vamsi. He shared these models. These are done in Houdini. They're procedural geometries, and he makes these beautiful abstract works. And so we call these the thing, right? And so the idea was to build an image around the thing. And so Lucia, if you pay attention on the side of the wall, there is of the artist Vamsi Krishna. She built this beautiful installation. And she did it in a space that it's very recognizable, that very strong architectural identity. The thing is that this image works on every level. You can look at it as a thumbnail. You can look at it as a geometrical composition. The black and the white, I thought it was an incredibly bold move because, in a competition like this, you have colors, and colors give you endless opportunities. She designed this image keeping in mind that this was going to be a black and white image. And to me, this shows a degree of control of graphics, which a lot of people don't have. And I think that, Mike also recognized it, all the other judges recognized it, and that's the reason why it placed first with a gap of I guess 10 points from the second runner-up.
Yeah, something like that. And Nigel, you asked where you can find this stuff. Simon, I think you asked. So
if you use the QR code in the corner.
Yeah, but basically it's still a bit unorganized, how this stuff is being put up. People are just posting this stuff on Facebook generally. You'll see it different places, but we've started to try to get people to post it into the D2 community Facebook group. This is not on the page, but on the Facebook group, and we're sharing everything in there. It's also tagged so that you can click it and see all the things from the latest competition. So if you you can join this group. It's a private group, so other people won't see what's being posted in there, but please join if you want to check out the stuff that's in there. And it's also, we keep up with D2 stuff is going to be happening there as well. But we want to make it more about the community stuff, so we're going to have people post their images there from now on.
I think
cool.
It's been incredible. I've been struggling to get my kids dressed in the morning, and these people are coming up with fantastic work like what you've shown tonight.
Guys, I'm going to keep us moving forward. I'm just going to quickly show these slides now that I've got my two screens working.
Some news.
So these, we'll just get it up on screen. So use the QR codes to go through to those websites. And of course, there are these ones as well. So what we're going to do finally before we hand over to Assembly Studios is we're going to watch the show reel, but I think I have to reshare that because of the sound. So I'll just stop sharing quickly, and then we'll go to this one. Okay. So let's watch this. This is from University of Kent, the ArcViz course. It's pretty phenomenal. I think it follows on nicely from what we've been talking about.
You guys see anything?
No, I cannot see anything.
No.
It's just the sound.
Can you not see that?
We didn't see anything.
Nothing.
Say that you've had better nights, Nigel.
I think
Sounded amazing.
Unbelievable.
Nigel, I think you're doing just fine.
The music was awesome.
Yes, I agree.
Really got us going.
Did you enjoyed that? Jesus.
That wasn't for building suspense.
Oh, what a sigh.
Maybe you can pull it over like you did the other thing. You pulled something into the next screen like you did before. That seemed to work.
Yeah, that was
Nigel, if you've got more than one monitor, it's not going to work. I think that's what's going wrong. You've got a couple of monitors. I think Zoom only likes one monitor.
There we go. We're back again. Maybe if everyone sticks around, I'll try and do that at the end.
Yeah.
On the right monitor.
Okay.
Because I do have that on the other one. Shall we hand over now to Assembly?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Can I share a screen?
Better than I can.
Yeah.
Really careful when you do that.
At your
Okay.
own risk, I think.
Can you see, guys?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, works great.
Maybe we should all mute now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. As you can see, we are assembly. Oh, it's on the other side. So glad to be here tonight and represent our company. So let's begin. Assembly consists of CG, design, and digital teams. My colleague Giada and me, we are going to focus on CG part. As a recent member of Assembly, I should say how much I'm impressed with the communication we have, how everyone's willing to help and solve problems together. So this is the way how we learn and grow as a team. These happy faces are members of Assembly. So last year we had a Christmas trip in Germany, Nuremberg, where we had so much fun. Social life for Assembly is really important. When I moved to London 6 months ago, I didn't know anyone here, maybe just few people. So my social circle was quite small, but I got nice and warm welcome into Assembly's life. So I didn't feel as a stranger anymore here. Besides all the fun, of course, we don't forget to educate ourselves. So last year we went to Unreal Academy. Some of us went to BottleshipVFX, and during this quarantine, we tried to call each other, have internal reviews, and discuss on the projects. As you can see, we're a quite multicultural company. We have 4 Italians, 3 Portuguese, 1 Indian, Polish. Of course, we have 1 English, and Lithuanian, which is me. There's 64% of women in our company, and while in our industry, there is only 7%. I hope one day that number will be more balanced, but I'll leave this for another discussion. And I just want to ask you guys, what do you think was the biggest topic of last month? Or maybe it was more than a month. Of course, it was a quarantine. So how we've been holding up? I think it's not bad. As you can see, people are having their monster computers in the kitchens or living rooms. We, of course, don't forget our routines, which we had in our actual office. So Italian coffee at 10 a.m. in the morning. Happy birthdays are really important. Fancy Fridays now. And this quarantine time, I think, is on one hand is really nice because we can spend so much time with our pets and relatives. So guys, let's move on to our most successful CG works. The first one is Blackstone Cargo. I think this project was most successful on visibility side. We were featured many times on social media and published on Behane's architectural visualization gallery. This building is a multi-purpose building. The lower ground is the most important feature of whole building because it has a direct relation with the plaza. And all this massive space, it's kind of lifts all the building from the ground, and it gives permeability to it. Next, our successful project is London Dock, which is a massive master plan located in Wapping, quite close to St. Catherine's Docks and Tobacco Docks. This project is a good example of quality we can provide for interiors. We were for View Battersea project. We were in collaboration with interior designers, and we delivered full set of images and vignettes. And this one is our recent project, which is an art installation. It was made from shipping containers by famous sculptor David Mack, and it will be placed in Edinburgh Central Park tram stop. And it was published as well on Design magazine. Thank you for listening to me. So my introduction part is over, and I will give a word to Giada, who is going to talk about the Mayfield project. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. So, yes, here we are. So, yes. So, hello everyone, I'm Giada and I'm a CG artist at Assembly. Thanks for having me here today. I guess you had a good idea about what Assembly is and what we do, thanks to Monika. But now I'm going to show you one of our latest projects that have been also really successful and we've been working on for over a year. And it is Mayfield, Manchester. So Mayfield is a 1.6 billion regeneration project in the center of Manchester, located where Mayfield station is, and is going to include the depot that's been empty for over 30 years, then the surrounding industrial area, and then is going to host new houses, new office spaces, and a whole new public park. To deliver this successful project, we've been collaborating with all of the companies involved into the regeneration. So UNI, that has been our main client, LCR, Manchester City Council, and Transport for Greater Manchester. So this project's been really ambitious because our main challenge was to create an experience for our clients and the potential partner to guide them through a full immersive virtual experience. Because nowadays with the technology that we have, it's quite easy to be fully aware of a space if it's just a room, if it's a flat or an office or a single building, but how can we feel the same awareness into a big space as a whole master plan? So we tried to do that, and we delivered a full set of tools, including CGIs, VR, a blueprint, a website, and an interactive presentation, and an Unreal model. But how does Mayfield look today? So it's an abandoned site, but it has a huge potential. As you can see, it has a lot of natural landscape that then is going to become the key point of the whole new public park. And then it has the railway station with this iconic architecture and the galleries of the depot. They're going to make Mayfield a really important industrial heritage. But we had a big challenge because although the greatest peculiarities that are making Mayfield so interesting and so unique, there was also a really big lack of information and a short amount of time to deliver everything. So what architects and developer had in mind was mainly an idea, but then we actually had to make this real into a 3D world. So the only resources we had are those drawings you're now seeing, from CEW Architects, and nothing else, and a big massing model, but just blocks. So we had no background photographies, we had no plans, no elevation, nothing. So what we had to do, it was to build a really smart workflow to be able to reproduce everything in 3D. And so also to react efficiently to all of the changes as we were going to face, because we know how challenging it is to be in contact with all of the companies involved into a master plan. And so to do so, we thought that the smartest decision we could make, it was to build all the buildings in rail clone. So we were parameterizing the models with rail clone in every single details, from the structure to the facade. And we had also in this way, we were able to create those models and to change them really quickly because of all of the changes that we've been asked to do from all of the people involved into the project. So we ended up building all the 15 buildings for the master plan with rail clone, and then the depot, the existing depot and the rail station, and then the whole new landscape also with forest pack. So using all the i2 software. And what we produced was used to make the Mayfield Phase 1. That was a really important point for our client because it was the opportunity to engage with investors and also with other partners that then were going to be part of Phase 2. So For phase 1, we've been producing 16 different images showing the whole space, and we've been in charge to design most of the spaces and go into details, because as I said before, there were no information and most of the buildings were a really early stage. And so we produced in the 16 images, they are showing the whole relationship with the landscape and the building and then the depot, but also some areas to see how this site is related with the context, and then some vignette for a marketing purpose. So after phase 1, we've been delivering the phase 2 that is called Mayfield Rally. So phase 1 was hugely successful, and so our client were able to attract a lot of investors and partners that then are part of Mayfield Rally. So this time the challenge was pretty different, because of all of the architects and the people involved into this project, we received so many different models from so many different architects that this time the challenge was to actually optimize them and cleaning them. And this time Sinai was a really huge help for us, because we've been able to bring all of the buildings inside the master plan and re-update all of the 16 images really quickly for our clients. But phase 2 is not the end of this journey, because after that we've been also asked to produce some images marketing for 2 of the plots, and then producing also the verified views of the same plot for the planning application. These 2 plots that we've been zooming into, they are located in the west corner of the master plan, and they're called the Polton and the Republic. The Polton has been designed by Bennett's associate. It's an office building, and then in the ground floor is gonna host a huge space with public cafe and the reception for the upper office floor. And then is also have a huge terrace where you can admire the park from. Then the second building is the Republic, that's been designed by Morris and Company. Again, it's going to be an office building, but this time on the ground floor is not going to host only cafes and the reception of the office building, but also a really big multi-purpose cultural space for different events. And also, again, other 2 terraces, one big and one small, that are looking at the park. Then, after producing the CGIs, we're also producing a full set of VRs, and they are showing the whole master plan at the rally stage, and also the one for the marketing, so the Polton and the Republic. Our digital team built an in-house platform to experience all of those VRs from your laptop or from your mobile device. And then, so the VRs that we've been producing, where here you can find some examples, are about showing the whole space. So they are located in the park or in strategic places to have a look on the relationship between the park, the depot, and then the building, all of the building of the site. Then there is also, they are also showing the whole master plan and how this project is connecting with the existing place, the existing road, and some other buildings like the one you see in the foreground that it's already built because Mayfield is already on. And so you can actually see how massive is this site. Then we've been producing also the VRs for the marketing buildings. And so every marketing building has a VR that is showing the entrance, and so the connection of the public space with the private one of the offices. Then we are also showing a typical office floor in 2 different versions, one empty where you can fully appreciate the size of the space, and then also one version with a fit out that we designed. Everything, all of those buildings were such an early stage that of course we had to take care of most of the details inside. So in partnership with the architects, of course, we've been delivering, we zoomed into detail for most of the spaces, especially for the offices and also the terrace. The terrace is going to be a private terrace for the office. And again, we had to produce a mood board and also have a look on all the furniture, then of course approved by the architects. And from this terrace, as you can see, you can have a look of the whole Mayfield. After the VRs, we also produce a blueprint platform. So the blueprint is an interactive model that our design team produced in-house, and is showcasing the whole Mayfield, but also together with all of the media content that we've been producing. So here is a look of our blueprint platform. So the blueprint in this case is showing the whole master plan, but is also zooming on the two buildings that we're producing the marketing for. So you can have a look on all of the floor of the building and have an interaction with the floor plans and see like the area calculator and also the availability for renting. Then the blueprint platform that we built has also a section where you can have a look on all of the connection of the site with the surrounding areas. So you can have a look on the transport link of the nearby the site and also the main train station. You can find also a section that is called gallery, where you can find all of the images that we've been producing for Riley and for the marketing ones. And also, you can have access with this platform to another section that is called the 360 tour, where again, you can have access directly to the platform, the VR platform that we built. And then you can explore all of the VRs sliding from one to another. The blueprint is, of course, a really important tool, and it's been really successful for our client because you can start really feeling the interactivity of this, where you can have a look on the whole master plan and then go deeper inside to explore all of the spaces. But if also producing an interactive presentation, this time is slightly different because the design team has built this interactive presentation that is going to be projected onto 9 touch screens in Mayfield, and is going to create like a virtual marketing suite for our clients to interact with the partners and the investors. And so in the interactive presentation that is not there yet, so I don't have actual videos to show you, but to let you give an idea about what it is, thanks to the touch screens, you can use gesture control to slide through all of the content. You have access not only to all of the content, media content that we've been producing, but also to an interactive map and a master plan section that includes an interactive floor plan for each building, an area calculator, and all of the information about renting the single spaces. And at the end, we produce also an Unreal model of the whole site that you can experience with a 360, with an Xbox control, and then it's going to be, you can experience that on a laptop, or you can also find it on site in the marketing suite in Mayfield. The fact that we had to build that that it should run on a laptop, it was one of our main challenge, because Mayfield is such a huge site that even if we've been working with Unreal for some time now, we never worked with a model with this size. And so we couldn't find any other example in ArcViz of something that big that could help us. So we had to build a workflow and some strategies to be able to run that on a laptop and not only on a super powerful machine. So we've been producing a workflow that is, of course, is mainly concentrated on optimizing everything. So we had to reduce, of course, polygon texture using proxy meshes in Unreal, and then also the level of details. But then we've been able to produce a model of everything, bringing everything to Unreal, and you can walk through all of the areas from inside and from outside. You can also find some hotspots where you can have access to the 360s that we've been producing directly on Unreal, also to give like more interactivity and being able also to see more life inside the spaces together with the people that we've been, and the other details of the CGIs, of course. And then you can also fly a drone inside the whole space, and everything is driven by a dynamic lighting, geographically accurate, that you can change during the game from day to night too. So yeah, that's it, and thank you very much. Sorry for the crash, it's my bad. It's my computer, and I hope you enjoyed. And thanks again for having us tonight, me and Monika.
Yay!
Very nice. Very nice stuff.
Wow.
Really cool.
Incredible work.
Is that stuff live on a website somewhere? Is it live?
It's not yet. So
Okay.
actually, it's pretty exclusive. We had a big discussion today for this, so it's gonna be live pretty soon because it's super big. I guess for Manchester, it's gonna be like a really big opportunity for that, especially for the big parks. So basically, it's gonna be one of the new park for like the only new park for over 100 years. So it's a big deal. And soon it's going to be on, and you can have access to all of the content that we've been producing. So,
It looks fabulous. Congratulations.
thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, I hope it's going to be good.
Yeah,
hope you enjoy that as well.
It looks amazing. Is this kind of interactive quite common in all the jobs that Assembly is doing now?
Yeah.
Like they're more of a whole package kind of thing, not just images and film anymore, but also interactive and apps and AR and all this kind of stuff.
I think it's a really important point for Assembly, because like we're always discussing that, yeah, it's fine. Of course, we are CG artists, so I'm not actually able to produce all of the interactive content because we have a digital team that is helping us for doing that. But like the fact that when you deliver something is not only an image or a VR, for our client is really important. And we had like at least 3 or 4 projects as big as this one recently, and they were super successful for this reason, because when you are able to interact in a way like that and really understand what surrounds you, I think it's quite important nowadays because we have this technology. So we really trust that this is going to be the future, not only the old school style that it's of course amazing, but you know.
What was the total time on the project from start to final?
Yeah. So basically, because at the beginning we did only phase 1, I'm counting from the beginning. It was a year and a couple of months, but we had to stop a few times because, of course, like when phase 1 ended, then phase 2 should start, and all of the people and the partners involved, they should actually design those buildings. So we followed the project mainly from the beginning to the end. So in total it was over a year, but probably there are some months off. But actually the last part that's been like the marketing, so the VRs and the Unreal model, it took us a couple, like around 4 to 5 months. But then, of course, our digital team built all of the platforms from the beginning. So I would still say 1 year.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Very cool stuff.
Cool.
Did you guys get You guys get extensions from the client? Like, was this whole thing built up from the start, or it just kind of grew and pieces got added to it?
Yeah, no, usually we do everything from the start. So like when we sell something, it's the whole package. We already know everything from the beginning, and the client is ready for that. But of course, like that, we still need to deliver something quick. So that's why in the presentation you could see it was following like a timeline. So we delivered the images first because that would be super helpful for everything, for sharing on social media to show to the clients or to show to partners, and actually getting interest into that. But then they know actually everything from the beginning, so we agreed that is going to be the full pack that you're gonna have. So, and that's important because otherwise to do all of those things really quickly at the end, it doesn't really work. So that's what we're trying to do, of course.
Had you guys used RailClone to that extent previously on previous projects? Is that your normal workflow?
Yeah. Basically, because in the last couple of years we had like huge projects, and of course, as I said, like there are so many people involved that they're asking to change things. Our main workflow is always to remodel everything, unless we're gonna have like lots of modeling from the single architects, but to remodel everything and using RailClone and Forest Pack as much as possible, because of course RailClone is a parametric tool that it's helping us to change everything. They were asking, I don't know, oh, I don't like those panels, or they're not the right size. One click on the RailClone and it's gonna change everything. So yeah, that's our main workflow, I could say that.
Well, thank you very much. I think we've got to move on now. That was amazing, though. Really, really incredible. And it's very kind of you to share it with everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was very, very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. I believe now it's time to make some cocktails and invite Nikos to show us what he has tonight.
Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity to connect with you guys. I can see you're ready for a cocktail. I can see it in your eyes. Today, I decided to make a mezcal mule. Oh my God, this is beer.
I've got the whiskey.
Nice. So the cool thing about the mezcal mule, it's a variation of Moscow mule, which means you can actually have it with vodka, gin, tequila, whiskey. I decided to go with mezcal, which is a bit more smokier. If you never had mezcal in your life, it's got a very interesting taste. It's a smoky drink. And the best way to experience it is to have it straight without ice. And also in a cocktail, like today. So the ingredients is going to be, let me introduce you to my bar first, so you can see. There you are. So as you can see, we're going to have lime juice. I'm going to have ginger beer and mezcal. So let me go there and start making the cocktail. Hopefully people will follow along. And hopefully we might get some pictures as well. You never know. We might get lucky. Do I have to make it full screen? Okay. So here we are. I'm going to start adding the ice in the drink. I also find a way to create some nice shadows today. So let's focus on that. I'm going to do the ice. Always wash your hands first. Keep yourself safe. That should be enough. So this is the mezcal. It's a very amazing drink, guys. If you never had it, highly recommend it. I'm going to go with 2 parts of mezcal. As you already know from last time, I like to double my drink always. So be brave on that. So 1 part, whoa, almost there. Okay. So what is next? Next, I'm going to have a fresh lime juice, which I already prepared. And then to finish the drink, we're going to go with the ginger beer. It's a very interesting taste, to be honest. Again, I like to have balance on my drink, so I have like 2 parts of mezcal, lime juice, and ginger beer. So what's next? Next is about to stir the drink like that. Now, there is many ways you can finish the drink with a cucumber or with a lime. I'm gonna go with the lime this time, since we have cucumber last time. And then, from my garden, I decided to add mint, a beautiful mint leaf, just to make it a bit better, the taste. If you remember last time, I like to put black pepper on my drink, so I'm gonna do the same thing. You know, it doesn't matter what I make in my life, if it's an image or a drink or I'm cooking dinner, I like to experiment. So that's exactly what we're doing today. We're experimenting with a recipe. So this is the final drink. Hopefully people from the house doing the same thing now. So I'm gonna switch to the other camera so I go through some questions and then say cheers to everybody. Okay, so back to the camera. Let me switch my microphone. There you are. So this is my mule. Have you guys tried this before in your life?
No.
It looks gorgeous.
No. Well, today was a good opportunity, I guess. It smells so good. It's so, it's got an interesting taste. I can feel the wood finish from the skull. It's very interesting. Let me try first. I'm happy.
Have you ever had it with? Have you ever tried it with Tabasco?
I have not really, but
Taste and always Tabasco.
It's too spicy, I guess, because of the ginger beer and the fresh pepper, which I always do in my drink. So yeah, so I had this drink many times in my life. I think last time was in Los Angeles, but it was with vodka. And it's really cool that you can actually change the recipe and add even whiskey or rum. I even had this drink with Diplomatico. It was amazing, seriously amazing taste. Ioanna, what you had there?
I put whiskey.
Nice. Well, that's the cool thing about the recipe.
And
so when I was thinking about the drink to make, I realized people from home, they can actually go out and hopefully they might have whiskey or gin or rum in the house. That's why I went with this recipe. So yeah, any questions from me? I'm happy to enjoy my drink and respond.
Awesome, really Nikos. Nice. Makes us thirsty, man.
Yeah, man, it's a cool
one.
Oh my God, I'm enjoying this.
Cheers. I'm eating pizza.
You're having a pizza. Angel, you asked me to do something nice and you're having a pizza.
It looks like a frozen pizza too.
Yeah. What do you have there?
It's so not frozen.
Milk.
Nice.
Well, not anymore, I hope.
Yeah. Well,
Nikos, I've got a whiskey and ginger beer, ginger wine mix.
Okay. Well, that's
I was very foreign to that. It's very lovely, very sweet.
Yeah, it's a very strong taste. I like it as well. It's an interesting taste. That's good. I have to send my dear friend Pedro Fernandez. So I sent him a present today, a mezcal in the house. So he's definitely promised to send me a picture. So I'm going to text him now to send me this picture and see what he's making at the moment. Hopefully more pictures will come. I know it's hard to go out and get the drinks, but even if you're having a wine or a beer and you're connecting with us, enjoy your drink, guys. Enjoy the presentations. It's very inspiring so far for me. I'm enjoying this. And thank you for connecting with us and growing the community all together. That's important.
Yeah,
cheers.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Nicely said,
Nikos. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Nikos.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
For the cocktails, we actually have the University of Kent show reel now, all lined up. And we're going to share it
Nigel.
with you.
Delegation.
Yes. Josh, do you have it or should I do it?
Oh yeah, no. Nigel is ready to share his screen.
Is he?
About now.
I think he doesn't look ready. Oh yes.
Go, Josh, you got it.
Yes, thanks, Josh. And
Why isn't it
Nigel.
playing?
Looks a bit dodgy in my end.
You forgot to share it with sound.
Sorry.
The sound, and there's a sort of a blue square on it.
I'm going to start it again because you've got to have the sound going. Sorry for that, everyone.
Yeah.
Has anyone else got a blue square in front? Or is it just me?
I'm seeing that too.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's better. Is the sound completely gone, or is it just me?
I don't have any sound.
You don't have any sound, right?
But
it just kind of petered out.
We could just,
Here we go.
Oh, there's Howard.
About to work on
So there's
either working on their written dissertations or undertaking work placements with various companies across the country. We have a good number of companies already engaged in this, but we have space for more. If you'd like to become involved, then please email richard.griffin@kent.ac.uk. Thank you.
So I think, to be fair to Howard and Kent University, we will share that on our social channels so everyone can appreciate the splendor of what they've really done, because students have done such fantastic work, and we've gone and bolstered it all up tonight.
You know, it's another type of rhythm with the jaggedy effect.
Hey, to be fair, Nigel, you ballsed it up first.
I know, that's story of my life. Right.
Okay.
It's more real like this.
Everyone's being very hard on themselves. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. We'll find the link. We'll share on YouTube. It'll be fine. It'll all work out. Don't worry.
Yeah, totally. So I suggest let's move forward with a very special guest, which I might be biased, but it's my favorite VFX studio. Because it's Bulgarian and it's Battleship, and I'm very much thrilled to announce you guys being with us tonight. Hi, Hristo. It's really nice to hear from you.
Hey, thanks for the lovely presentation, Ioanna. And thanks to Giada and to Monika for the awesome stuff that they just showed. Let's see. Let me do this, my screen share. Okay, so a little bit of an inception now, because I'm going to log into my machine from the office.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's stuff that is quite, up for the times. Now everybody's in at home, and we log into our machines from the office because, visual effects, the stuff that we do is quite security sensitive, so you can't really use home machines, so it's complicated stuff. So anyways, thanks you guys for inviting me, and it's awesome to be able to just meet all of you, and some people I know, some people I'm meeting up for the first time with, all good stuff. So just a little bit of a background about me. I'm founder and supervisor at Battleship. I have a computer science background since high school. I was always kind of interested in these kind of making virtual things. Not much of a handy person myself. And I started the Pixelmon and Scanline since 2009. And I was an effects artist that was doing a lot of destruction and simulation work, blowing stuff up, particles, these kind of things. And then eventually in 2013, I teamed up with my partner, Martin, who is more of a like modeling, lighting, this kind of person. And we have grown up to about 20 people now. Our office is in Sofia in Bulgaria. Downtown, artsy neighborhoods, lots of drinking around. It's a fun place. And we specialize in big simulation work usually. You can see from the stuff that I'm playing up in my reel that this is basically the stuff that we do quite often. So yeah, there is water, there is like cities getting destroyed, nuclear explosions in the skies, obliterating aliens. So the bigger the better. And it only becomes bigger over time. So it's interesting to see what comes next usually. And we have expanded the range. So now we have, besides the lots of the dynamics and the environments, we have some creature work, and the movies that we do are coming from either Asia. So we do a lot of Chinese and Bollywood movies. We do European independent movies. We do US streaming and smaller movies. So we haven't had our Marvel moment yet, but you know, give it some time. And recently we have moved from 3ds Max mainly, where we were doing our kind of everything, to mostly Houdini and Katana. And it has been a very steep learning curve for us, but the growth that we have had was tremendous. So, you know, man up and grow. We took the challenge and rose to the occasion. Still having some kind of long days and sleepless nights, but you know, things are petering out, it's stabilizing. So just wanted to show something, you know, not to be much of a show off, so don't really enjoy these. They were real mostly presentations, so I wanted to show you, guys, something practical. So to get into doing something which might be useful for people, whoever is an artist out there. And usually I don't do live demos, like I really hate them. But you know, now that I have this false sense of security, we're all at home. How bad can it be? So you know, let's have something simple and let's do a live demo. So I'm gonna just jump into Houdini and do something real quick. So I was thinking about something which is simple for the time slot and cool, but also practical. So I thought about, okay, let's do a grass in the wind because we have had to do one lately, and that's kind of the thing that we'll be doing. So it's like grass blades that wave in the wind. And the cool thing is that there is no simulation work here. Everything is done on the frame. You can have many millions of these rendering very easily. So it's quite useful. We have used it on quite a few occasions. So yeah, it's something that really comes up very often, and usually we have to do simulation work to get that going. So you do these lines and then you simulate how they bend when the wind blows them. You nail them to the floor, and then they tend to fall too easily. So it's a pain. You rig your vegetation, quite annoying. And by the way, please interrupt me. So like unmute yourself, interrupt me. So let's have more of a conversation rather than a presentation, which is much more fun.
Hristo, could you stop being so awesome, please?
No, this can only increase. Prepare for things to get much worse. So the idea was
actually, sorry, Hristo. So I got a question. So are you now remoting into a computer at the office?
Yeah.
So you're remoting into a computer at the office, sharing that screen on Zoom with a live demo and streaming on YouTube. Well, this cannot possibly go wrong. This is going to be incredible.
Well, you know, you like to live on the edge. You got me there.
You certainly do.
It's just exciting.
It is.
To skip the simulation part, we thought, okay, you know, it would be nice. What would be nice? It would be nice if we could have this thing not simulated so we can iterate on it extremely fast. It would be nice if we could kind of visualize the waves so we can kind of see them and tweak them, in real time. And
Hristo,
okay. So sorry.
Can I ask a question? Alex Morris is asking. He's curious how much you're reliant on thinking particles or another particle system as opposed to Houdini, or if you're just in Houdini now.
Yeah, we are just in Houdini now. It's kind of like more straightforward than. It's another topic. We could talk about that. Our experience, which I think is a really interesting topic.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to talk about it sometime. It's a very interesting thing to talk about. So yeah, we skip the simulations, so everything is much faster. So to do that, what if we can just create all of these bends that each grass leaf is doing, and then just pick the right bend at the right time for the right kind of point. So that's basically what we are going to be doing now really quickly. Very, very simple system, and it's simple, but it's really a good entryway into how the whole environment's kind of workflow works in Houdini. So that's basically how big it's going to be. It's nothing huge, so I'm just going to build it up to kind of showcase the line of thought, because that's all that kind of procedural work is. So I'm going to start with the grass blade first, and I really like keeping things in a 1 meter, kind of box scale, because it makes everything easy. Like all the positions are normalized. Everything is between 0 and 1. And it's really easy to substitute this for an alembic model that you get from a grass thing. So usually you get like a library, or you get something from you buy something from the internet, or somebody molds something, whatever. So this stuff is easy to substitute in here. But if you want to just throw in something real quick, I can make a grass blade by just sweeping a line like that, and I can use this thing to scale. Do you guys see the thing on the right side of my screen? Because I have all of the people's thumbnails in there.
No.
Oh. No, we just see the interface normal. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it on the live stream too.
Okay. You mean you can see the screen, or you mean you can see the?
No, you can see your screen. You can see everything.
Okay, that's fine then. So yeah, simple grass blade would be something like just like this, but then it would be a little bit thick here, so you could thin it out by applying a transformation. Just like your any 3D platform translates, rotates, and scales, just the same way in here. So all the time teaching our guys that stuff in Houdini is no different than stuff in whatever Max or Cinema 4D or Maya or Blender, whichever part of the woods you are coming from. So then what we want to do is that we want to bend this thing in usual, let's say, 90 degrees. I want to, yeah, do this kind of thing basically. But my cheat, my trick is that I don't have one piece which is bending like this. I have like 90 pieces, and each one is bent 1 degree until we get one piece for each of these degrees of bending, and then I can pick up the correct piece for the moment and the point. So to do that, I can't really just do something like this. So in another platform, you would have to script it. We have written so much code before, but in Houdini it's quite simple. So you create a loop, and I'm gonna put this bend in a loop and feed that initial thing to the bend. So the idea is that I'm gonna give a different bend to each of these to each of the iterations of that loop. So this is going to go through a bunch of times, and in each of these iterations, you're going to apply like one more degree of bending. So let's say I want like 90 iterations, and obviously I need to set something up in here for the amount of bend, and I need to talk to the parameters of this loop in here. And to do that, I can just hit a button and get one more node. And this node hosts as its attributes, of the geometry that passes through that, which is the stuff that you can see here, the parameters of the loop. So I have the number of iterations, for example, here, like the current iteration, and I can call this up. So I can say detail, because this thing here is called detail, if I hover the mouse. And I have to say which node. So I usually name these nodes counter. And because I have another one named counter, so this is counter, automatically named to counter 1, not a huge deal. So I address that node just like I do in a file system. And then I just write the name of the attribute, the thing in the column that I just saw. And at the end, I'm going to write say 0, because 0 is the like the vector component. If you have vector attributes, you can have stuff, you can access different components. So I have iteration in here, which is 89, and I can say, okay, give me like a merge each iteration, which means that I'm gonna have all of the different iterations are gonna combine into one single mesh. So that's kind of the thing that I'm getting, which is a little bit much. So for some reason it's getting a bit too bent, but I can just multiply by something to get a smaller. Okay, so something like this. So you can see I have all of these big bunch of bent thingies. So now if I look in here, yeah, these are points and whatnot. Okay, so this is the first part of the equation, and the second part is the place that we put all of these things at. So I'm just gonna make some kind of ground kind of thing, like a meter, and I'm gonna put some points on top of that. And that's something that Houdini is really awesome at, just to be able to control the points on everything very explicitly is really awesome. So I put in some points in here, and as I said, it's really great if we could just control this thing in a very visual way, kind of easy. And I will just make these points much bigger so I can see them much better. And I'm going to make the background dark. Get rid of grids and stuff like that. So, okay. And I have a color representing just something. By default, when I make noise on the points, it's putting the noise on an attribute called color. And I can just say, okay, let's have it on an attribute called bend, for example. It's like, why not? And I can display that. I can make it 1D because I just need one number for how bend it is. I don't need 3, like a color, like an RGB color. I can make it, like if I make it offset in an axis, it's gonna look like it's moving down the, my field here, something like this. Make it like that, so it's a bit more visible that it moves. And it's very easy to animate this. So I could place keyframes, but I could just say $F, maybe times something small, which is just connecting it to the current frame. And I have my animation. So a lot of times that we make these kind of animations, we don't really put in keyframes. We just write like an expression as simple as that. And it's keeping things very easy to tweak. So if I want to make the thing go a little bit faster, I can just replace that value and it goes twice faster. So very simple, very, very, very convenient. Like in production, this stuff moves very fast. So the idea is that I'm going to be using this to say how bent my grass blades are. And if I am at the blue area, they're going to be very not bent, and the red area is going to be very bent. So as the whole thing moves down my field, I'm going to get these different bends depending on how the kind of a fake wind is going down. And to do that, I have the copy to points, which is telling some geometry to get copied to some points. If I can just say instance, so this is making instances, and by default it's copying all of the geometry on all of the points. So I need to just instruct it how to proceed with that. I have, if I go down in here, I have how much, like 95 of these copies. And I need to collapse them all to one single thing for each of the bends. So the idea is to have one single item kind of getting copied on each of these. And I want to, let me see. So yeah, something that I had gotten wrong in here was that I was telling the loop to get the result from the previous, the entire previous operation, rather than the result from the thing, input thing for each frame. So this should be working better now. And let me just fix it up. Okay. And now I have from 0 to 89, all my 90 copies. And I just need to tell each of these points in here to pick up the right copy. And now the bend that I have, this attribute that it's called, is going from, like, let's say 0.45 to 0.85. Now I obviously need to get it in the 0 to 90 range. So I can use the remap, and I'm going to say, okay, this is going to be, yay, the thing that can't go wrong went wrong.
Nice.
And I think I hadn't saved. There is a production scene that I have opened in there.
Part of the process, don't worry.
Part of the process, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you have a thing that is pointing towards which copy to pick up. So I just need to connect the thing that I made, which is like from 0 to 1, or whichever range goes into the noise creates, into the from 0 to 90, which is the numbers of the bent grass blades, and they're gonna get copied. So
Hristo, it's always much faster the second time around.
Hey, Hristo, are those acting as morphs, or they're actually are they just revealing?
They're not
all the different grass blades.
You can think of it as you load a different frame of the cache for on every instance.
Right. So how is it dealing with calculating motion blur for render?
You're putting the motion blur on your own. So when you bend the blade, you can tell each point. You can give it a fixed velocity, attribute. So it is using that.
Right, but wouldn't it matter, like, the direction if you're coming back up, or if you're going down and you're at a target? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You could after you copy, if you want to take everything into account, after you copy them to their final locations, you could do a final pass, which is looking at the previous location of each point, because point count doesn't change in here, and calculate the velocity from that. Yeah. So then you have to, and then you package it up again for your compact rendering geometry. Okay, I will be saving this time. If anything else comes to mind, guys, while I rebuild this. That's why I don't do live demos.
How long have you been on Houdini now?
Sorry.
I think our transition, like the company transition, started in last quarter of last year.
Oh, and recently, very recent.
Yeah, and it was very. I think we did the transition sooner than I thought, because I thought, okay, by the end of the year, let's have by the end of the year being able to do everything in Houdini, and it happened, I think, a bit earlier than that. So it took us only a couple of months.
It's nice that Houdini puts a couple of crashes in there, so that you don't feel like you're too removed from 3D Max. You know, there's a nice continuation there. It's good.
No, it absolutely does. You know, it's software. It's not something magical. A lot of times, but we don't have we don't usually.
So can I ask, Hristo, are you got a lot of Max script experience? Are you shit hot at that?
I used to code a lot.
Okay, right. So you kind of know what you're doing. So I guess for Houdini, you could kind of jump in and you'd feel comfortable quite quickly. How do you think it? I mean, are there any artists in your studio who are, they're not that good at Max script? I would probably stick my hand up and say, I wish I was, but I'm not. But how have they transitioned? Have they found it easy?
It's a process with everybody. So I think there's two parts to that question that I think are important and interesting. So one part of the question is what is how do you handle everybody's different journey and everybody's different backgrounds? Because people have not everybody has a little bit of computer science background, so it's my position that for any person who is working with computer graphics, they immensely benefit, and they should know some computer science, because I mean the really fundamentals, super basic stuff, which is not even high school level, math and computer science. This really helps, and everybody who you experience, dealing with, you can see how different it is between people who have a little bit of a background and the guys who don't. And it's more difficult for people who don't, and we put in a lot of work to teach them all of this stuff. So at Bottleship, it's very training heavy environment. We have a couple of hours a week where we sit in a room that we do just training, something which is not connected with any current projects or nothing at all, just like fundamentals.
This is amazing.
Extremely important. So it's amazing to see how much of an impact this has in the everyday work of people. So this is one of the parts. Yeah, like every place, not everybody has the background to be a high level technical person dealing with Houdini, but this is the same 3D that you deal with anywhere. So Houdini is kind of unmasking it for you and showing you that you need to, that there is stuff that you would benefit a lot if you understand better. So that's kind of the big difference, I guess, that in a lot of the other applications that we used, it's easier to approach, but then you hit the ceiling and then there's nothing much you can do. But with Houdini, it really rewards, it really rewards you for understanding as much as possible. So the more you understand, the better it is for you, and it rewards you quite instantly. And then the second part of your question, I think that is important, is that what to do when you need somebody to perform a task which is above their understanding. And Houdini is really awesome at allowing you to package stuff to give to somebody else. So this setup, for example, you can package to something which is controlled by a couple of spinners, like if you imagine like a really old school particle system in Max or in Maya that has a couple of spinners. So you end up making a lot of these for people to apply in practical shots. And this is working much better than at any other situation that I have seen it work. Usually we have tried this kind of approach a lot in the past, but it really wasn't working because there's usually something which is making things not work, in a black box encapsulated environment. But in Houdini it does. So yeah, this is the second part. We just encapsulate the stuff that you want somebody to only use without understand. Black boxing is really important in Houdini and in 3D, and we use so much of these tools in any platform that are black boxes. And the Houdini we just do the same thing, but it's much more enabling to build your own black boxes and distribute them to people. It's very good in distributing things. We have like different levels of, if I go to our wiki, we have these different levels of distribution. So when you save a preset, it can go into your project, or it can go into a global level that, for example, the next time another person that is working on the same project opens Houdini, it's going to show up. This tool is going to show up automatically, and is only going to show up on their project. So if you override it for another project, it's not going to mess it up, which is extremely important. And this is Houdini is making it very easy to just distribute these things. This is
Hristo, did you find your experience with TP thinking particles helpful during your transition?
Yeah. It absolutely is. So if you have been doing stuff with, let's say with Krakatoa, for example, the genome and all this kind of stuff, it's exactly the same.
Right.
So after you go through the initial differences in the geometry architecture, mostly, it's very, very, very similar. So these things help out a lot. But any understanding that you have about CG helps out a lot. And again, as I said before, it rewards the understanding immensely. So you just focus on training your people to have deep understanding, and this understanding then it helps them out in any other situation. So basically makes you a real person who really understands. That's good.
Hristo, I've got a question from somebody in the chat, from Thomas Horsley. He's interested to know if you have difficulty finding Houdini artists to join your team. You've said you've been expanding recently.
Yeah. So our policy is that we have our senior people grow up in the team, and we don't lose many people. So I think in the last what's it, like 6-7 years, we have only had like 3 or 4 people leave the team, something like that. And it's difficult to find people who are quite skilled in Houdini, but it's not that difficult to find people who are enthusiastic about Houdini. So we just get the people who are enthusiastic and we train them up. and it's really hard. It's immense amount of work. But we are at a place that we are very enthusiastic, and I really love our people. So it's really a lot of fun to just help everybody out and to do all these, solve all of these puzzles.
Is this this problem-solving aspect of it? This question's from Pedro Fernandez. Do you go on feel, or are you looking for reference when you're creating something like this, or well, maybe the explosions rather than the grass?
It is. I think it's an interpretation of the tools that you have accumulated. So you accumulate some tools and some understandings, and then everything that you do is some kind of an interpretation, some kind of a build using these tools. So if you, when you have some kind of a problem, and a lot of times in Houdini you have this kind of you do a procedural build which is making something, and you break it down into using a kind of an algorithm. Basically, you mentally imagine how would you do this manually, and you go over these steps, and this is your algorithm, and you use this algorithm then to you translate this algorithm into actual kind of nodes and items in Houdini based on on the understandings that you have to this point. So you know a little bit about one type of nodes, and you know how to transition between points and volumes and meshes, and you know what are the things that are efficient to do on points, and what is good to do on volumes, what is good to do on meshes. So you move between all of these things, and you have a bunch of small problems that you have solved that have introduced you to some of the tools, and all of the setups that you do afterwards, all of your problem solving is kind of a combination from all of these tools that you have built, from all the stuff that you have previously made. So it's a lot like music, or like drawing. All of the stuff that you do, each piece that you compose, you put in all of your influences, like all of the stuff that you already know, you put in together, and you end up with a solution to your problem. So you build a palette, and then you use this palette to creatively approach an issue. That's how it works. So you really need to teach your people to expand their palette. That's basically how it works.
Hristo, I've got a question, just referring back to, say, the assembly presentation we saw. Are you using Houdini for your hard surface modeling, or do you use another application?
We don't use it for like stuff that is. It's not our interactive modeling platform, so to say.
Right.
Yeah. So for.
But if you were to build a city or like a big project, say like what Assembly showed us, what software would you be using?
So for a city, because we have a lot of cities, and we build them in. Currently, we like the last city that we made. We tried to do full procedural first, and we made a procedural city, but it turned out it's not a great idea because all of our buildings were unique. So we started with OSM data, and we splice up a few regions of real maps, real cities, because they have an awesome distribution of buildings, and they have the real streets and the real layouts, real geography. Everything looks real about them. So, and we said, okay, let's, then we have the outlines of each building. So let's make procedural buildings. We had done like procedural bird feathering right before that. So we felt quite confident, and we did make procedural buildings, and we said, okay, to make them all different, we are going to have, we're going to kit bash, because Houdini is super strong kit bashing workflows. So we're going to kit bash and decorate them with all of the different kind of stuff. But eventually we ran a little bit out of time because we were occupied on other projects and so on. and because of all of our buildings were different, we didn't use that because it was not efficient to render. Now then we figured if we rework it so each building is built up by these small modules, then the modules are not going to be unique and we're going to be able to render it. But before we got this idea, we had already replaced all of the buildings in our city with library buildings. So we just bought some buildings from TurboSquid and we processed them in Houdini to make assigning materials and stuff like that easy. And we replaced the buildings that we had in our procedural city with buildings from the library when we picked up the right type of building and the right height of building for each location procedurally. So a city build is, yeah, for us it's a procedural build. And if somebody needs to make a building, then he's going to go in Max or in Maya or in Blender and is going to build it. We don't use Houdini for, you know, our box modeling, for example, stuff like that.
Hristo, I don't want to distract you anymore. We really want to see the grass when it's finished. And
I think I have mostly rebuilt the whole thing. So basically, the thing that I was where I got to the where we ended up was that we had all of these dudes. The grass blades were, you know, like that in this kind of a state, and then we had all the building, all the points. Let me scatter a little bit more. Let's say 1,000, and you know, millions of things are not problem with Houdini at all. It has such a granular control on how things get rendered. Yes, it is complicated, at deeper levels, but you can optimize. It's very productive. So yeah, we have the points, and just wanted to show that, you know, this is basically my my waves. So I just had to make these bend go from my initial 0 to 1 to go to 0 to 90, and here I called the number of iterations from this counter node again, just so I can make the maximum of the bend. I can basically keep the number of copies in here and my bend attribute in sync. So if I change one thing, the other thing is gonna automatically change. And then the only other thing I had to do was that I had this bend here as a float number, so it has 38 point something. So I need to get rid of all of this stuff after the decimal point, and I have a node which is doing that. So no more decimal points. And there is a node which is saying copy to points, and this node is just, let me make these things not as big because it's annoying. So there is at this copy to points node, there is something which is where was I? Which is telling the input points that are coming from on the first input, which geometry from the second input they should pick up, and you tell it, okay, take this attribute for, you know, for your to define which point you would pick up, and it works. If I have smaller number. Meanwhile, I put in some random scale, but that's a little bit, yeah, let's have it, for example, like this. And you can see that they are bent in a little bit of a wrong direction, but I can just rotate them a little bit, kind of align them. And okay, so yeah, my wave is going left, and grass is bending right. So I just changed that orientation there. So yeah, you can see, that's kind of the grass blades. And these setups are very modular. So you just keep on adding stuff to them on and on and on and on until you get all of the features that you need. Like in the setup that I showed here. Oh, it had crashed. Okay, sorry. I had another random thing, which was defining a color. So by default, it's just assigning a random color to each of these things, which obviously, you don't want to have your punk rock grass maybe. So I'm gonna do another my own attributes, and I'm gonna use this one as the thing which is guiding a ramp. And I can have this ramp go from like a darker to a brighter green, something like that. And you can use these attributes in the shader. When you render it later, you could make your procedural flower. Usually what we had done on the last project, we had it from a little bit more close up. So we had modeled flowers. So you had, clusters of green or yellow flowers, stuff like that, blue. Basically, you can build anything. That's the liberating part, is that finally we can do everything. There is no much of a limit. Like, you don't really see. We have not had anything that we can't build without much of a hassle, really. We had our first character show, and it was a bird, and we built a procedural system which designs feathers and applies them to the bird, and you could and groom them and stuff like that. And it took us a couple of weeks. It was quite crazy.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Thank you very much, Hristo. I think everyone here is super impressed that you did this live, suffered a crash, and then rebuilt it so quickly, and answered all our stupid questions at the same time. So thank you very much.
Does anybody?
Amazing job.
Do you guys think that that view with the geometry spreadsheet with all the numbers going down, was that the reference for the Matrix kind of art direction? Because Houdini was there at the time.
It absolutely makes sense, because that's when you see the truth. Like this stuff is the truth. This is
that's what it is, isn't it? It's the whole world there.
Yeah. Usually there is, you see now there is one column is changing, but usually there is much more. But the stuff that you end up seeing, basically here you can see what is the stuff that you create, what are the ranges, what is the minimum and maximum. You end up sorting them up a little bit. You end up with a big bunch of these, so you filter them out, so you can only see the stuff that you need. And all of the operations that you do, you just guide using these attributes. And then an attribute is something that you visualize very easily like that, on the points. And then this is becoming your, for example, scale, or your, transformations in some way, or your flattening of whatever.
Cool.
Super nice. Thank you, Hristo. Thank you very much. A big thank you from all of us. I think we're going to move on to Eric now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Guys.
Hola. Okay.
Thank you.
Write me up with any questions. Find me up on Facebook. I'm super socially active, and I help out a lot. So.
But go to the YouTube. Go to the YouTube stream, and make sure you put all of that stuff in the comments. Then, Hristo.
Will.
Hristo, please get a haircut as well.
As soon as possible.
All right, so shall I take the floor, because time is moving on, and I am now extremely excited to introduce Eric equally to Ioanna as excitement, because I have been wanting to bring Eric over for years now. And so great, we come to you in your office. Finally. So just a little story. All right. I studied architecture in England and France, and went to France for my second part. And it appears that in England, we work a lot as architecture students. And in Paris, well, it's a little bit different. We get more time to finish our studies. So I actually met Eric in university where we were doing our architectural degree. But at the same time, well, I had time to get a little bit distracted and actually got into the underground scene of organizing illegal rave parties of all things. And, you know, as architecture students do, and got involved in creating some crazy visuals for background for doing animations and things like that. And this was back in the days of 3ds Max 1. So, and that's how Eric and I started working together before you founded ArtfactoryLAB in Paris. And so I actually saw the birth of the company, and I've been admiring their work ever since, you know, very, very early, working with Jean Nouvel. If I may say, I blame you personally for winning a few of Jean Nouvel's flagship competitions, including the nest, the bird's nest for the Shanghai Olympics. So there you go. Over to you, Eric. Blown away. And so I have actually seen the presentation before, and I would just like to say that it's massive. It's treating, well, you're going to describe it, but you're talking a lot about reference, using reference, and I think it's a massively overlooked subject. And so thank you very much for showing us your amazing work. So take it away.
Okay, hello guys, girls. I'm gonna share my screen. Here it is. Partager l'écran. Okay. So, I don't know, what do you see? You see everything? Yeah. Okay.
We're on it.
So I'm going to talk about our relation to photography. And I wanted to start by what was almost the beginning for us in this relation. It was with a project by Jean Nouvel in Guadalajara, and for a museum. And this is one of the images that we made. And it was made 15 years ago. We presented this image about the project. The architect was designing something, and Jean Nouvel wasn't happy at all with this image, saying it's too realistic, it's too advanced in a way than the project. We were wondering why, because that's what you're designing. And so at the same time, we were looking at Sugimoto pictures of famous architecture, where the architecture was blurry, but at the same time totally recognizable. And we decided to adopt the same principle to the images, knowing that they were going to be presented to art curators and museum directors. So we chose art pieces that these people would immediately recognize, and at the same time giving a feeling of the architecture, but without really showing it, and doing it in a way that is also related to a famous photographer. And we started experiencing things like here, a project for Herzog and de Meuron for a casino in Las Vegas, where the project was extremely undefined, just a shape. And was it possible for us to give a feeling and a photographic feeling of a project without having so much information? And here we started playing with pictures. Here we just found a picture of Las Vegas on the internet, and we inserted the project in the image. And the only way to find easily the project is just with the wing of a plane, it just pointing at the project. So playing with photography and exploring, like in this picture of Stephen Shore, famous photographer, where we inserted a sketch by Herzog and de Meuron for a Las Vegas project, doing the same things with various photographers and starting to see how we could represent architecture with a relation to photography in a different way. And here are some samples of this kind of work. We use a lot the photography as a guiding tool and a lot of reference images. Here, you're going to see some of my personal reference images. And so you have seen 5,000 images, and it's a collection which is still growing every day. And we use them for different purposes. Documenting a project. In this case, this is an airport for Zaadid. And the first thing we do is exploring, looking for images of airports and trying to get out what is the feeling, what makes the feeling of an airport. And we found out that it was not only the planes, but also all the smaller machinery elements that you can find and see. And so we developed in the images and this kind of elements in order to feel it and start to give the feeling of the airport. So this is typically the kind of thing, and these images are not very recent. I mean, eight years ago. So we had no ray clones or anything more efficient. So it was all made handmade. And this, you can see the kind of zoom. And also, in that case, and in this series of images, of course, the architect wants to see the airport in a certain way, but you can see from pictures and from your memories of airport visions of the architecture that are not as focused on the architecture, but also about the environment, the plane environment. Then we use a lot the reference images to personalize spaces. In that case, in this quite simple lobby image, we started to collect elements in order to not to use things that are immediately coming from online databases and so on. And you can see here some of the pictures that you find then in the rendering. So here we've been rebuilding elements, choosing elements, and modifying also elements in order to compose the image. And these are small parts that were made for, and then that can be reused in other projects, reassembled or just modified. And it's what is funny is that it's an ongoing process where you update and try to recompose in images of things you're building. And for example, this reference image, you will find the head, the horse head in the image. Also, because very often the architect, especially for interiors, hasn't a very precise idea of what he wants. He wants a feeling, or he's focused on a detail about the facade or a space, but then you have to give life to this space. And here, the reference images are very useful. And of course, you can pick up things and transform them to give a different feeling and then use them again. Here are some glass reference. and the small cups, Chinese cups that we made are here, and then the glassware, you'll find it also. Images, reference images are very useful also to find a concept. Here, this was for a competition for the Grand Palais in Paris. And the idea that I found in a picture was to make a 100 meters long dinner. And this dinner was a way to join two parts of the museum. And this directly comes from this kind of images that I found and used as a reference. And then also all the small elements, and you see also possibilities that you didn't explore when you do the image. It's also very useful to exchange with the architect, because we do a lot of competition, and usually the core of the work is competitions, and it's quite fast. Usually we work 10, 15 days on a competition, and we ask a lot of information to the architect that it doesn't have immediately, because he was focusing on something else. And so we can use images to direct or to sort out what he's looking for. And for example, talking about concrete, there are so many possibilities, aspects for concrete, that the only way to sort out it or help him to figure out what he wants is to showing images. And these are results of this kind of discussion between us and the architect. And of course, when we are drawing here, I'm sampling things about stadium or sport areas. These are ways also to sort with him the feeling, the colors, the possibilities that we can use, meaning that it's not always white or gray, and you can show him good quality images, inspiring images, in order to sort things out. And here is, for example, a result. Here, in this case, it's the architect who gave us this image as a reference for the materiality of the floor that was then developed in this image. And there are subjects that are like brick, very complicated, with enormous quantity of possibilities of construction. So here, a sampling of bricks, and here a project with some details about what we made for this. And of course, there are sometimes images that you have in mind that the architect is not immediately requesting, and it becomes a possibility also to propose him an image a bit different than what he's asking at the beginning. And this one was directly inspired by this photography. And here is also being related or relating to photography is a way to avoid the question of style. So this is an image by Luxigon done a few years ago. And this kind of image was very successful, at least in France. There were a lot of architects asking for this kind of images that are giving you a mood, but without a lot of definition of the architecture. You feel something about the architecture, but you don't know, you don't see precisely how it's made. And that's something that we never could relate in our work. And at the same time, a lot of images in France and I think in Europe were made that were looking like this. We were developing things like this, where we were going a lot into the details and starting to use more and more photography shooting to insert the buildings. And this image in particular had a lot of success with the architects. I mean, not the architect, the project architect, the architects in general, because suddenly we were focusing again on the architecture and putting it in context. So using photography is also a great way to find moods or framings or color balances that are not natural to you, that are not the image you would do immediately. And this opens possibilities. And you can see on each subject very different ambiances or color balances that can be sometimes very strong or softer. And this is directly how we use photography to find different ways of approaching an architecture and approaching the image. And you see here a very classical, straightforward way of shooting a building. This is a building by Shigeru Ban in Christchurch. And you can see how we worked on interiors. But you see also something with a different tone, maybe something more, not classical, but maybe more old-fashioned. Or here, very straightforward insertion. And here, for example, these pictures were inspiration for this kind of moods and colors. These are some samples, and yeah, I show a lot of images because mainly that's what we do every day. This is really work from the office, our everyday production. And here, this kind of image is our inspiration for this kind of images. And of course, we can also do heroic images when the project is heroic. For example, this project in China by Jean Nouvel, with that's what I call heroic images.
Science fiction almost.
Yes, almost science fiction.
This is so amazing.
And also here, we want to something heroic also because the level of detail in the project is not very strong. So we had to figure out a way of being very expressive in the image because we could not get into details as in other projects. And here, these are kind of works we do in landscape. Here it's really assets that you can find everywhere but it's more work about the lighting and the general feeling. And of course, photographies are a way of questioning also the way you frame renders. And here, these are some full 3D renders. But when we work them now, we more and more try to look at the model and try to think as a photographer when he's shooting. We try to manage the accidents. And here are some, again, samples of mood photos that we used for making these kind of things.
Sorry, Eric, can I just stop you there just before, when you showed the image of the building in the forest here with the trees before, what did the client say about this, or the architect?
It's a good client because he understood that not having the entirety of the building, but having a glimpse of a building is sometimes enough. And this is something that we discuss with them or try to show them. So we try to make not a sketch, because we don't anticipate systematically what the image will be, but we look for possibilities. We make the 3D model, we put the elements, the grass, the things, and then we start shooting this model and trying to find a position.
Eric, I really like what you just said there about manage the accident, or maybe find the accident.
And
you push back on your clients a lot, I imagine. Excluding the client that you just mentioned that is happy to show that, how do your clients feel when you push back at them and tell them that, you know, they should have these accidents and they should have this more photographic influenced visual, considering that they've got their own, you know, they've got their own sort of deliverables and criteria that they need to satisfy for the project?
I think we do two things. We reply very directly to their request as, I want this point of view. And then we start showing them possibilities. And we try to also, again, to show them photos that relate to their project, to help them to see that a good photo is doing good to the project, to convincing that the project is good. And here, this is a sketch that is inspired by this photo. I mean, there are elements of geometry, the tones that when we're working, somebody is doing something and you come along and say, oh, that makes me think to this photo. And then we start discussing, exchanging ideas. And then...
So hang on, I've got a couple of questions here from the chat on YouTube, Eric. Somebody's asking what your catalog is. Alex is asking the software you used that you were showing all the thumbnails around. Is that?
It's a software that doesn't exist anymore. It's not developed
I knew it was
anymore.
something.
It used to be made by a photographer manufacturer from, I think it's...
Was it Hasselblad?
No, not Hasselblad, but a big manufacturer is doing things for now for more tone mapping and so on, that he made this tool, and I still use it because I've made so many tags that I don't want to lose them. But I switch sometimes. It's just the database that is important for me, this visual database. And sometimes I just switch from one software to another one because it's reorganizing the images, and suddenly you discover images that you had forgot. Yeah, maybe another question.
Yeah, no, there's just another question about your passion for photography.
Yeah.
Is this something you look for people when you hire them?
If you're a photographer, it's better. Then if you're not, we'll have to teach you. And it takes a bit of time. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about colliding with reality. This is an image that we made for Frank Gehry for his project in New York, and another image. This was, I think, the first time that a client saw an image and asked for nothing, no changes, nothing. I was so surprised and happy, but also a bit puzzled that it went like this. And this is a detail. And this is the photography that you find when you just look for the building. So you end up, you're working on a project, it gets built, and then people start shooting this building. And sometimes it looks like what you did, and sometimes it's very different. And you, in a way, you regret not having the idea of doing this picture. I would have really loved to make this photo. And here, this is another example of a project by Christian Quérez, Swiss architect. And this is the photography. And when this happens, you start to see all the things that you missed, all the details that you didn't think about. Because when you're building the image, it's still a very intellectual construction. And of course, and the architects also sometimes say, okay, I want to see more inside the building. I want transparency and so on. And then you see the picture and you see that there is no transparency. There is nothing less transparent than glass. And you see, okay, details, and again, a rendering, and then the building built later on. And here it's always a question, because you make these images and you see the construction and you start to see all the things you didn't think of, especially the framing, the environment, the kind of details that makes something real. And yeah, this is a totally, imagining this when you do a rendering, computer graphics, and imagining this as a possibility is a very hard exercise. And you have to have references or possibilities of images to think about something like this. And of course, there are little chances that the client will say, okay, this is what I want. But the possibility of doing this, this contrast between a very modern steel and glass and so on building and this old construction, in a way, it's not a bad thing for the project, but this is reality. So then the shooting, and the shooting we do as many shootings as we can. Here a project by Christian Querez again, and this means going. This is for the Bourrelly Foundation in Switzerland, and here I went to take the pictures, and the lucky thing for me on this project is that the architect, before being an architect, was a photographer. So we have, it's very fluid discussion. Even if the exercise of shooting is not an easy one or it's always challenging. Here, for example, you see we are just aligned with a fence between the road and the field. That's because I've been climbing on the fence with the tripod and the camera to make this photo at the great peril of my life. And here in this park, which was really incredible, you see there is a little detail. There is a chair here, and this chair was not here. I found it in the field, and just when I'm doing the shooting, I just took the chair and put it in the frame. But of course, there was no building. So you are already, when you are shooting, you are trying to construct the image that you will make later on. And shooting in this kind of environment is very challenging because it's not easy to figure out how big the building is going to be. And so you have to make a lot of them. And sometimes you make mistakes. And here are the kind of photos, the way we put a simple building, even if it's not that simple, but how we construct the image on the site by being very attentive to the lightning, to what is happening, to try to find things that will enter in the frame. And the difficulty of the exercise is really focusing on what is not the center of the image. Because the center of the image, most of the time, will be the project. So you are in an empty space, and the center will be occupied by something that doesn't exist. And you have to try to make this photo by looking to everything that is around. And here, this is a project by SOM in New York. I spent 2 days shooting again and again the same places and seeing the light changing and so on. And I put this image because I'm thinking of all the people doing rendering graphics and scattering leaves on the ground. And here, they are just here. And usually, they look better in a photo than what you do with the scattering, despite all our efforts. Yeah, sometimes I stop speaking. Should I speak non-stop? Okay, this one, or this kind of images is also to show you that we very seldomly make projects that are in the middle of a beautiful landscape. We mainly deal with city. So this is really the subject, how to put a project in a city and still make it feel natural. I think one of the things we are trying to do constantly is providing an image that is not loud, that is not hyper expressive, and just focusing on what our client is buying, an architecture. And if you take the time if you make the effort to make the photography, because most of the time we work in an urban environment, this is a project on the Rue de Rivoli, and it was in summer, so you have to get up at 4:30, be on site at 5 a.m., and you've got this light. And here, what is funny is that the architect had already made images for this project, and this project was supposed to be presented to historical monuments. And he had made images where the shopping area was very lit and very loud. And I convinced him that his intervention is so discreet and minimum that you should do the contrary. You should not try to show that you are going to make a successful selling place, but just show that it totally is natural with the environment and the architecture. And I put this one just because it's one of my favorite. Here there is no project, but this is the Rue de Rivoli when you take a 17mm tilt shift lens and you obtain something that gives you how abstract this architecture is. And these are other works we did integrating the project on the building. And here you see...
Sorry, Eric, to interrupt. Do we have much longer?
No.
Don't want to be the killjoy, but
okay. So I show you.
Yeah, we're getting close to bedtime.
Okay.
But no, it's really cool.
So these are some samples of shooting in La Défense at early morning, and you see the graphic, and here you see the project. Here, and here you see the project. And okay.
Wow.
Challenging context sometimes, difficult to manage with colors, but here again with reference images, you can find solution to make your project and the image less difficult. Question of framing. Here a set of images, here a photo, and how you can reinterpret it in a project. A photo, a quotation, a site. The challenge of banality. How can you introduce something of a very common and usual life in architecture? And in a way, it's a kind of trick to convince people that what we try to do sometimes is just make the architecture of a project realistic enough that you cannot contest the project. You feel it seems to be here, so it becomes totally natural. And these are questions about reframing architecture and how you can use simple elements. And these are full 3D elements.
Yeah, I've seen some of these. You know, it feels like we could just go on for. I've seen some of these images before, and it's really enchanting to see them again. And Yeah, well, unfortunately, we can't
Sorry,
go on
wrong.
all night. But no, it's really so inspiring. And as I said, for me, Eric has been an inspiration all my career. So it's incredibly refreshing to see all these, and especially when you talk about being soft and quiet, it's just very, very interesting.
Eric, I could go on all night. This stuff is amazing. It's incredible. I really love the influence that photography has made onto your work, and I think that the passionate realism and reality really flows incredibly well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Brilliant.
Thank you.
It's more fantastic images.
Amazing.
Much inspiration. So, well, we'll have the recording obviously on YouTube for anybody who wants to watch again and spend some time on this.
Yeah.
But I guess this will be our closing moment.
Okay.
I've kind of gone completely dark here.
You're in a cave.
Subduing the shadows.
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
Eric, if you could stop sharing the screen.
Yep, sorry. Stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing the screen. How can I stop? Up.
On the green button
The
when
green-
it says.
Yeah. Arrêtez de partager. Here.
Voilà.
Brilliant.
Yes, thank you so much.
So that was
everyone.
fantastic work, Eric. It's really, really nice to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Does anyone have any questions to wrap up? No.
Well, we've kind of peppered with questions throughout.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question. When do you guys think we're allowed back at the pub?
Oh.
That's not a nice one to finish on.
So I would like to say, because I think we're closing out, but I would like to say a massive thank you to everyone in the YouTube comments, everyone who's been watching on YouTube. If you're watching this a few days later after the live stream, I'd like to say thanks for tuning in. It's probably quite a good thing to listen to whilst you're getting on with work at home. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're learning from this. I think this is an amazing initiative that Nigel and the gang have set up, and I just want to thank you all for tuning in and watching it as well. We may be we may be doing this for a couple of months. If we are, I hope you tune in again. We're getting better and better at it, and we're going to fine tune it. We're going to make Nikos's cocktails more and more potent.
Fiery.
I'm massively disappointed there was no worm in that cocktail, actually, Nikos. We were promised worms.